Jimbo Fisher spoke to the media yesterday as only Jimbo Fisher can, and obviously made a hire on his staff, bringing in Bobby Petrino to be the offensive coordinator. A lot of questions about Bobby Petrino, as there would be with any new staff member. But those of you that have been keeping up with what's going on in College Station understand this. The offensive play calling is what Jimbo Fisher does historically. Like, that's what he's known for. He's standing there with a full arts and craft project on the sideline on Saturdays, going through his different scheme he's got drawn up for that day. That's like kind of his MO. Last year, Texas A&M was very bad offensively. And it'd be one thing to be bad offensively, but you don't have the personnel. A&M's recruited really well. A&M has the talent to be good offensively, but they were lackluster, to say the least, last year. Scored around 22 points a game, good for 97th in the country. They were 103rd in the country in terms of third down conversions. So I just say that to kind of set the table here. It makes sense why Bobby Petrino was a point of conversation for Texas A&M yesterday. And Jimbo Fisher, as a whole, if you listen to his press conferences outside of this one, he's a little bit impatient. Like, he's a little bit quick to cut off the media members and sort of answer a question and maybe seem a little bit cagey is maybe the word you would use. But yesterday, it was a whole new level with the way that he talked about Bobby Petrino. He would not give those Bobby Petrino questions any air. Even more so, he wouldn't really give that much of a direct answer. The quote I want to hone in on, I actually tweeted out on my Twitter page, at JD Pickell. Someone asked him, so is Bobby Petrino going to call plays? Pretty straightforward question. Not trying to trick anybody. Not trying to imply anything negative about your program. Not a gotcha kind of question. Jimbo Fisher, one, seemed irritated, visibly. Two, he said, we'll go through that as we go on. Uh-oh. We're not off to a hot start. So I tweeted that out, and I said, body language and tone is telling us a lot more than the words are here. And there were a lot of people from the College Station, Texas area that were quick to say, you're reaching here. You're just making up a story. Hey, quit reaching and being accused of different fan bases that I don't support, but whatever. Nobody's reaching here, y'all. I had former players of Jimbo Fisher's like that tweet. I had parents of players that are on Texas A&M's roster like that tweet. Nobody's reaching here, all right? This is not an encouraging display for your head coach that just hired somebody to fix the problem. Didn't look like he was super excited to pass along those duties if that's what he ends up doing. Now, make sure you subscribe. Got a lot of y'all tuned in. We appreciate y'all for that. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter, at JD Pickell. Just a great way for us to go back and forth. If you follow me there, then you saw me tweet that out, and you probably have an opinion on that. So this is my concern. If that's how Jimbo Fisher is responding to this move publicly, like to the media, to the people that you would hope you're maybe on your best behavior for, a little bit at least, or maybe you're trying to put your best foot forward and put a good public perception forward. If that's how it's with the media, how is it behind closed doors? How is it in those staff meetings when there's no cameras, when there's no perception you have to manage for the public? When this hire was first made, got down to the studio, turned on the camera, and I was like, good for Jimbo Fisher, man. That's a humbling experience. That's tough to do, to bring another man to do your job that you've prided yourself on doing for the last however many years. Like, good for Jimbo Fisher. Now, after seeing what he said yesterday and how that press conference went, I'm like, oh, boy. Oh, how much was he forced to do this? How many people did he have tapping him on the shoulder saying, Jimbo, you need to bring in an OC? Need to bring in an OC. That's what we got to fix. He seemed very visibly frustrated. And the reason why we got to be concerned about this if we're in College Station, Texas, like I said, the product on the field last year was no bueno. All right, it ain't going to cut it, especially with how well they've recruited. But you can't make real progress if you don't have a clear-cut responsibility laid out for each of your staff members. Like, you can't actually get anywhere with four hands on the wheel. That's two people tugging on the wheel, trying to make the right turn. If you're going different directions, if you're not aligned, you're going to have issues making progress, is the sentiment here. It's like when you're driving down the road and you're clearly lost. Like, the offense last year was clearly lost. But you won't stop and ask for directions because there's too much pride involved there. I'm not saying that's Jimbo Fisher. I'm saying that could be a situation you find yourselves in. And that's how it felt yesterday watching Jimbo Fisher. Not how it is, but that's how it felt. And you won't stop and ask for directions. You have two choices. Keep going, trust yourself, and probably get more lost, or two, humble yourself and ask for directions. Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M have done the equivalent of pulling over and asking for directions, and now it's a matter of, well, are you going to trust the directions you just got? Are you going to trust the guy that's sitting shotgun with you that has a map that's supposed to help you get to where you want to go? The concerning thing outside of just that one quote, because a lot of people are going to see this and say, well, you took that quote out of context. One, no, we didn't, first. Second, they're going to say, well, again, you're reaching, that's just one thing from the press conference, just one quote. Okay. Hear you on that. The concerning thing to me, in addition to this quote, was Jimbo Fisher's attitude towards the offense as a whole when it was talked about during that press conference. They kept asking him about problems they had a year ago, and he kept saying, it's execution. Everybody runs the same thing, it's execution. Read between the lines here. Saying it's execution is shifting blame towards the players. It's not about the scheme, not about what I'm doing. Hey, I'm calling the right plays. Everybody runs the same thing across the country, right? It's not on me if I'm Jimbo Fisher. It's on the players, man. Execution. We got to be better execution-wise. Y'all, that's a bad sign. We are not off to a hot start in College Station, Texas. Okay? So we'll see what happens here. But insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. 22 points a game. Y'all, Texas A&M is better than that. Connor Wiegman, I think, is a stud. He's better than that. Evan Stewart, better than that. Devon A-Chain, who was on the team a year ago, gone to the league now, he's better than 22 points a game. So A&M, got to have some buy-in now. It's just, spring football just getting started. We got some time for this thing to gel, but that gives me a lot of concern. So Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher, weird press conference. Not uncommon for Jimbo Fisher, but the verbiage and the body language, can't miss it. Can't miss what he's trying to say there. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.